All right. Good Friday morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you might be joining us from. We're so glad you're here. I am Sonia. I'm going to be Natalie's co-pilot today, and she's going to be talking about skill building in tough times. Natalie, would you like to do a quick intro for yourself for anyone who may not know you?
Sure. And also, I want to point out that Sonia Dolan is the co-founder of Mettle Health.
Very
So
sweet. I forgot to say that. Thank you.
you're welcome. And my name is Natalie Crittendon. I am a psychosocial occupational therapist, and I am a counselor at Mettle Health and have the opportunity to work with people under the guidance and care of Sonia.
Awesome. And we're excited for this one. We do a lot of I feel like we do a lot of discussions that are about things to kind of think about, and they're up here, and we're getting a little bit more into the doing today, which feels great. So thank you so much for doing this with us. All right, so logistics wise, Natalie is going to go through some slides, do some exercises, and then we get to the really good stuff, which is talking to you. And you can do this in two ways. You can click the raise hand button and we'll unmute you and you can speak with Natalie and ask your question. And if you'd prefer to not do that, you can click on the Q&A and type in your question and I will read it aloud for you. So those are your two options. And the chat is also open for anyone to make any comments just while we're going along. So we might save Q&A until the end, or if something comes up in the middle that's super juicy, we might head to it. So really, just anytime you have a thought, please put it into the Q&A or the chat, and we'll incorporate it as best we can. Thanks again for being here. Natalie, you want to get started?
Yes.
Okay, let's do it.
Okay, so I was preparing this time that we have all together. And the day that I sat down to think about what it is that we could do in this hour, I was having a bad day. And it was a real bad day in so many ways. And I've been meeting with people at Metal recently, and just in this stretch of time, folks have come on to the screen and said, I'm having a bad day. It's a really, really bad day today. So, as I was preparing for this, I thought, okay, I think I want to start by speaking to this idea for those of us that are here right now in person today, Friday. It's 10 o'clock on the West Coast in the United States of America. And for folks that are listening at any point in time at another date, to say that we can be in recognition of each other in terms of having a bad day. And there's so many ways to have bad days. But I wanted to give some honoring and power and voice to that experience because I know that there's so many reasons to be having bad days. And I don't want that to just slip by because we actually are all in community in some continuum, space, and time. So, whatever type of day you're having, welcome. I also want you to take a moment to think about what that was like for you that I just said all of that. So, for some folks, people might be thinking, oh, wow, okay, I'm going to log off now. This is pretty irritating. Natalie's annoying. Oh, that felt really inclusive. It felt like that's reflecting my experience today, or that was totally me yesterday. Notice. And noticing is a skill. And so that's going to be something that I'm going to bring up. Notice, and also notice is there resistance to receiving that care or that noticing? Is there resistance to receiving that type of love, or is there not? Is that a skill that you're really honing in on and saying, oh, yeah, I'm going to receive that care in this moment? So, those are two skills I'm already talking about that I think about a lot about receiving love and care and the skill of noticing. So, when we're together today, we're going to do what Sonia said. We're going to do some activities. I'm going to share a bunch. We're going to do some practicing together, reflection, and there'll be time for questions. What comes to mind is when I meet with folks, so often what comes up is the person says, Why? Why? I'm this old, however old the person is. How is it that I still don't know how to do this, or that I've still come up against this, or I still don't know how to do this, or I've never thought of this. This has never occurred to me. Why? Why? And there's some grief and anger and frustration around being in the place and time that someone is in and that they don't have the skill currently to navigate something. And so I want to say, and someone very supportive said this to me, that the time is now. The time is now. We haven't built the skill yet because we haven't needed to. We just haven't needed to. And the skills that we already have developed is because we have had to build them. And it's unfortunate in a lot of ways, and it's fortunate in other ways. But the skills that we currently have is probably because we've been in situations where we've had to build them. And it's not too late. The time is now for whatever it is. So I want to share that while we think about what qualifies as a skill. The things that I've already mentioned in terms of noticing, receiving love and care, I want to name that at no point, probably in the majority, for the majority of us in our formal education, did we ever go from maybe mathematics to then the teacher that we had the opportunity to learn from. Because of the system, did they say, okay, now we are going to build this skill. We're going to go from addition to the skill of noticing. And we're going to sit here and we're going to notice what we feel in our body. We're going to notice the air in the room. Nor did many of us maybe have the ability or the opportunity to be with someone and say, okay, now we're going to work on building the skill of receiving love and care. Who wants a high five, a hug, or a handshake? Or the ability to say no, no touching, right? Did we have the opportunity to do that? And so all of a sudden we're in a different phase in our life and we're so irritated or disappointed or angry that we don't have certain skills. And I want to name it's not our fault. Our formal education system in the United States in particular is not set up to build these certain skills. So as an occupational therapist, these are things that I think about constantly, and I'm really interested in talking about, and I'm so thrilled to be here to talk with you about it today.
Can I interject just a quick thought?
Please.
Um, So this is pretty much underneath what you just said. You pretty much said it. I'm just going to say it in a little bit of a different way. Is like we're not building that skill until we're in a situation where we need to build that skill. And what we're talking about here is skill building in tough times. So you're in like a crisis moment or an emotionally difficult moment or a stressful moment. And that's when you're being asked to build a skill versus I'm calm, things are good. I'm gonna take a class on listening and build that skill in that moment. I mean, anything to just kind of, besides just naming that, is like, is it more difficult also to build a skill when you're under duress?
Yes.
Mm,
Learning anything when we're under duress. When our nervous system is taking over and saying fight, flight, freeze, fawn, friend, over and over and over again, and we're trying to learn something, we know this. There's research on it. Young people that are living in a state wherein they are having that nervous system response, they aren't able to access
mm,
another level of education. So, yes, it is harder, and we'll talk about some ways in practice, some ways that we can build some skill in the midst of the tough times. And to also point out that any of us at any point in time might be thinking skills like what? Learning a new language or how to make sourdough bread or how to play a new sport. Those are the skills that we're really familiar with. So I will continue to, and with Sonia's help, name more what's going on in terms of these skills as I think about them as psychosocial skills and that we so badly need during those really tough times.
mm.
Okay, so let's just go for it. Let's try to do something. And it might feel like a risk for some people. I hope it feels like a healthy risk. If you're not into it, don't do it. But we're going to do a quick activity where we're going to just do it. But what I'll tell you is it's around thinking about the skills of noticing, the skill of slowing down, and the skill of sustaining attention or building our capacity building the capacity in any of those areas. So let's do that together. So here it is, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. What we're going to do is I'm going to talk you through this activity. It's probably going to take less than 2 minutes. What you're going to do in the space that you're in right now is look around and pick out 5 things, specifically 5 things that you see. It can be a photo, it could be a window frame, it can be the color on the floor. Pick out 5 things that you see. Then notice 4 things that you feel, meaning like the color of my sweater or my scapula or my glasses resting on my nose. 4 things that you feel on your body, the air passing over your skin. Three things that you hear. Two things that you smell. And one thing that you taste. Okay. So I often use that activity as a reminder that other things are happening. When things feel big and overwhelming and all consuming, the lamp is there, the rug is there, the sweater is on my arm. I can hear someone talking out in the hallway. And some folks see it as a mindfulness practice, other folks see it as a systems check-in. However you might want to use it, but we'll practice it again by the end of our time together. So we can go to the next slide and think about, I love this artwork that Sonia picked out for us. So when I think about skills when working with people, I'm just going to name some of my favorite ones, but it's important for us to remember when we're in the midst of hard times and there's some type of friction, I wonder, can we say, oh, I'm just building this skill, speak up for myself. I'm in the midst of building my skill to step back. I'm building my skill to not take it all on, right? When with that perspective, it can serve us sometimes. So some skills that we are absolutely forced into building, especially in the midst of tough times, the skill of decision making, self-compassion, the skill of boundary setting, assertive communication, identification of needs, sense of positive self-concept, receiving love and care, judgment, emotional literacy, self-awareness, and healthy risk-taking. And the list goes on, and you will be able to identify skills that you are in the midst of building or that you were forced to build or you imagine that you will need to build in order to navigate what's ahead. It's demanded of us. And when we can extend some grace to ourselves that we are working on developing the skill, and things will change. Just like learning a language. Really, you just get the greeting down, how to say your name, how to count numbers, and then you get a phrase, and then you get 2 phrases put together. And then you can listen and you can hear what someone is saying to you and you can think about how you're going to respond. but somehow we expect ourselves just to be able to set a boundary. Why can't I just set a boundary? When yesterday I wasn't setting boundaries with anyone, and all of a sudden today I'm supposed to be able to set boundaries. It's like, well, you started Spanish class yesterday. How are you not able to greet anyone today? I'm not sure we would say that to ourselves or anyone else. But everyone, you had all these supports to help you make decisions yesterday. Why can't I make the decision today? Why is it so hard to make this decision? Because you're working on building the skill to more independently make decisions. That just doesn't happen like that. Yes, we wish we could insert the language card into our brain and then we could speak whatever language it is. Yes, we wish we could insert the card for boundary setting, decision making, self-compassion, perspective taking, identification of needs. And it doesn't go like that. So I want to name the frustration that comes with it and offer some perspective. Hmm. Let's talk about what we're up against, though. So on the next slide, when we're in the midst of building skills, I oftentimes think about the water we're swimming in while we're trying to build the skills. And from my perspective, our culture is not set up for us to build these nuanced skills and to be patient and kind with ourselves while we're building the skills. And in large part, due to the dominant culture in the United States, the values that are upheld will push against exactly what I was just saying. When we think about there's one right way and this fixation with perfectionism, all or nothing thinking, progress is bigger or more, paternalism, individualism, defensiveness, sense of urgency, all of these values that are upheld in our culture in the United States and are just pervasive. I mean, messaging constantly everywhere through all forms of media and all systems and the legal system, educational systems, healthcare. We're up against a lot to build nuanced skills when the focus is a right to comfort or a fear of open conflict, when that is the messaging that we are meant to make sure that everyone's comfortable, that there should be no open conflict, that I should only do it if I'm perfect at it, that objectively, that there's claims of objectivity that I would be doing this right or wrong, that it's all or nothing. I can't either do it all or I don't do it at all. So it's a tough road. It really is. And culturally, we extend these ideas and it's a part of us. And so, my goodness, then there's also skill building within that, the skill of challenging all or nothing thinking, developing this skill to notice a fixation on individualism and how that is impeding the development of assertive communication and boundary setting, or challenging the skill of perfectionism. That's a skill to challenge perfectionism. My goodness. So I feel like I would not be doing a service if I didn't name the space in which we all are working to develop skills and what that can include.
Hmm.
What do you
Can I
think?
interject with a thought from Karen?
Please.
So Karen said, I feel an immediate need to distinguish between timing. If I am caught in a crisis, there's an implication I need to act promptly with what skills I already have and being able to, quote, prepare for a situation, which I totally get, Karen. And then at the same time, I think, okay, well, then you build the skill of knowing that there might be a crisis or knowing that there might be something that you totally didn't foresee. So it's the skill of like letting go of the planning and knowing how to respond. What are your thoughts on timing and skill building?
Yeah, building the skill of sitting in the unknown is real. And that is a skill to sit with the I don't know. I don't know when I'm going to need to do it. I don't, and challenging that there's one right way, that and urgency, and that it
Mhm.
needs to happen now, and stuff does need to happen now. We know this,
Mhm.
right? Fellow folks of California have evacuated need to happen now and needed to happen now. They needed to make decisions, they needed to go. And then building a capacity of sitting in the unknown,
Mm,
coping in the unknown.
yeah. Yeah, it reminds me of, caught in crisis, and to your point earlier, the skill of decision making. Like, okay, I'm in a moment where I have to make a choice of what I'm going to do. So honing that skill. But do you think there are skills that come up at different times? Yeah.
Yes, yes, yes. And it's always up against that there's only one right way, that there's only one right answer here, or it's all or nothing that can keep us from building the skill and leaning into the skill in the moment that we have already developed. That's where the cultural norms can really push up against us. Any other thoughts? Anything else from Karen? Hi, Karen.
Karen, you're always welcome. Let's see. Someone else said, I guess for me, the value of independence has been my primary identity. Now I'm becoming progressively dependent and I resist this advice.
Oh, you resist what advice?
Becoming dependent. So being independent and now building the skill of relying on others, asking for help, resisting that, which I totally get. I'm there with you. Independence
Mm-hmm.
is
Mm-hmm.
celebrated.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's hard.
And honored and valued and held up and bowed down to.
Mm.
Um,
So yeah, how do you start to build a skill of taking in help, asking for help, accepting?
Receiving love and care.
Yeah.
And my goodness, who was it that shared that?
Anonymous attendee.
Anonymous. Thank you, anonymous attendee, for naming the challenge with receiving. It's real. It's real. I would say it's a top skill that always that comes up with me in my work and sessions with folks is around receiving and noticing is the best part. So you noticing your resistance, that's the skill of noticing. Well done on noticing and noticing the resistance and noticing it.
Mm.
And then does it feel like a healthy risk to receive from someone? Does it feel like the just right challenge or too much of a challenge? And what is the just right challenge for receiving love and care? It might not be this huge act. What is the just right challenge that feels like a healthy risk around receiving love and care?
Mm. Natalie, I'm wondering if there is like truly even just a practical toe in way. Like, is it asking someone to pick something up at the store for you? Like, what literally starting to accept love and care? Is that something that we wait for someone else to offer us and then we practice maybe accepting it? Or is it, I'm going to go start this interaction with someone and see how it feels?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You decide.
Mm.
Right? You have options. That's the other thing, is that there's not one way to build the skill, which can be irritating and annoying for some folks in some ways. And also to remember that we have options, that we're not stuck. If I realize I need to build the skill to receive love and care from other people, or I'm not going to get through this, then okay, how do I want to go about doing that? What is my first step? Asking someone to drop off food for me tonight, or this person has offered a whole laundry list and I pick something from it, or this person is demanding bringing over chili. Okay, I'm going to receive the chili. There's no right or wrong way to go about doing it. What feels like it would promote skill building in you?
Mm.
Because it actually doesn't matter what would build it in me or the next person. And
Yeah,
so aligning with your values and aligning with what feels like the just right challenge.
I love it. Receive that chili.
Receive the chili.
Natalie, are you okay? I figure we'll just do questions throughout. Are you okay to Joe has their hand up. Joe, I'm gonna unmute you right now if you want to.
Thank you.
Hi, Joe.
Hi, my thought on this, and I'm enjoying the conversation so much. My thought is if people could just learn to say what it is they want or don't want, that would be helpful to us who try to be mind readers.
Joe, you're like 2 slides ahead. I'm so
Oh,
with you.
sorry. Sorry.
No, you didn't have the slide deck. You had no way of knowing. I really appreciate that. I really appreciate that. And I heard you say if people could just say what they want or don't want, right? Is that what
Yeah.
you said? Yes. Okay. So that falls into the category for me where how I organize that thought, Joe, is around needs identification.
Uh-huh.
And so I'll just talk about that right now. So I'm with you. And my goodness, for the people that
Mm.
built the skill throughout their life to be able to identify what it is that they need and can access assertive communication, I'm envious of them. And this is something
Mhm.
that is a skill that so many of us have not been taught and guided into to identify needs. So Sonia, will you go to the
Yeah.
needs? I like the artwork on it, and it can help organize where we are. Um, so when we think about needs, Joe, what can
Yes.
happen is for many of us, we think I'm wrong. I have needs. And that is often the messaging. That I'm not supposed to have needs. Nope, I don't have needs. If we can all think of someone in our life that's like, nope, I don't need anything. Nope, I don't need anything. Don't need anything at all. There is messaging that it's wrong that we have needs, but absolutely all of us have needs. And what happens is that when we have our unchecked needs, where we won't befriend them and honor them and name them, they will come out sideways because
Yeah.
we will work to get our needs met, even if we don't know that we're actually working to get our needs met, but we are. And sometimes that can be dangerous, unhealthy, non-productive, and be hurtful in relationships. So I am a huge fan for us to develop our skills to be able to identify our needs. Now, there is not one way for the need to be met. We think that there is only one way, but there's not. We're not stuck. So here's a running list of needs that I think about: a need for space, time, peace, autonomy, agency, a hot drink, toilet time, something to listen to, nature, a sense of freedom, whatever the need is, company, animal time, fresh air, whatever the
Mhm.
need is, how can we get that met? We think some people say there's just no way I can't have a sense of freedom because of X, Y, or Z. And can we have the need met in any small way? It may seem like there's only one way, but if we really challenge ourselves to both identify our needs and be expansive in the way that we think that it might be met, I'm with you, Joe. I think it serves all of us. And I think there's plenty of examples that we could go to out in the world, people in the spotlight who are getting their needs
Mhm.
met, and it's actually hurting other people.
And I think it's a matter of boundaries too. I mean, just to say, these are my boundaries around being self-sufficient. And and it seems like sometimes I need social interaction, or I need somebody to give me some love and care or leave me alone or whatever it is.
Mhm.
And if we could just build those skills a little bit more with our caregivers and our partners, I think that would be very helpful. Anyway, yeah.
I'm with you, Joe. I'm with you. And it is hard to, Sonia pointed out when we were preparing for this, she said, Natalie, what happens when you're skill building alongside someone else or in relationship to someone else? And we are reflecting on how feelings come up. And it's tough when we have hopes that a loved one, someone we're caregiving for, or the caregiver would be able to build the capacity around something like needs identification and assertive communication. and a positive sense of self where they believe that they are deserving of having their need met.
So
Yeah.
one thing some of us need to work on, and I'm one of them, is how to communicate that. I am here for you. Help me understand what you need
Mm-hmm.
and listen, right?
Great. I love what you just said. And I oftentimes trim it down even more.
Yeah.
It can feel scary to say it, and it feels like a risk. And I'll say, what do you need? And if someone's, I don't know, then can I offer some options and see if any of these stick?
Yeah.
Food, water, quiet time, a massage on your feet, and just a long list and see if they can pick a need.
Okay. I like it.
Hmm.
Thank you.
I like
Thanks,
talking
Joe.
to you. Thank you, Joe.
All right. Well, now that we're on this trajectory, Karen has her hand up, and I would love to hear from Karen. So sorry, Natalie, I'm screwing up with your slide.
Oh, no. I'm happy.
Karen, you know the drill. You might have to unmute yourself on your end.
Oh, Sonia, thank you. I just wanted, and that too, wonderful topic. I am confused, and I think my perspective is that of almost 4 years now in treatment for stage 4 lung cancer with bone metastasis. And I'm in that teeny tiny sliver of patients who are responding to immunotherapy. So I have a bunch of side effects, but my cancer largely, I am NED. So I'm very, very lucky. I've been working with palliative care. I took a referral about 2 years ago because I heard they had stuff that could help me, that the metrics were better for cancer patients if they had a palliative care doctor on their team. And I said, well, why would I not want one in that case? So as I've experienced working with my palliative care doc about once a month, I always get a questionnaire previous to the visit. And I know my doctor well enough now, so I have to do the eye roll. But I always answer the questions, and it leads with, what has been going well for you in the past week? And I have such a hard time with that. And I thought of that because when you were inviting us to conjure, what do we notice? What are our skills? And I'm stuck for an answer when somebody just says to me, gee, how are things going? Because that filter of advanced cancer, it's like kind of a doomy place to be. But also I have this brilliant thing called a life that I want to live as fully as I can. In skill building, I don't know if I'm off in the wrong direction, but I find I need to do information gathering. And I may not have time always to do it, but it really helps if I can think about what my goal is and think about, okay, I've got this what feels now like a vast care team, and trying to figure out who are the helpers. And also maybe trying to think of somebody who has the skill I would like to have.
Mm.
And then just asking them, how do you do it? And getting up the maybe the courage to make a phone call or reach out and just say, I'd like to know what you can tell me about whatever it is, because you do it so well. I don't know what I'm trying to get at here, but finding mentors, or even if I have a skill I think I might share, risking offering a skill. And it may be, if it's not the right thing, I'll find out. But the idea perhaps is of role models, that maybe I don't need to reinvent the wheel. maybe I can get something off the shelf. And within most medical institutions, there are just so many resources, but they can be very difficult to find.
Mm.
Hey, I'm being quiet now. Thank you.
Oh, I love all that, Karen. That resonates so much. I was thinking about what Natalie said about like learning Spanish or a new sport, and you would never take this up just with nothing. You would find someone who knows how to play the sport or speak the language to teach you how to do it. So this really resonates with me. And I love that idea of going to someone and saying, "You're so good at setting boundaries. How do I do that?" I love that.
Yes, and I think that you are a resistor, that you are pushing up against two things that stood out to me: individualism
Mm.
and all or nothing thinking. That you're resisting this idea that you just have to go at it alone. And we don't all embody all the skills. And you're saying, I'm just gonna see who else is out there who does have the skill to support me in it, as well as I don't have to be everything. The all or
Mm.
nothing thing. I have to have it all. I have to be it all. I got to do it on my own. So I see you pushing up against that, and well done. And there's not a ton of modeling for it, and a lot of messaging that says, yeah, lean into all the people around you when you recognize that you aren't able to do it yourself. I just think that that message is not loud enough.
Mm.
If I'm trying to yell it today.
Thank you, Karen. Should I go back to our perspective?
Please.
Okay.
So thank you to Joe and Karen and to the anonymous person that spoke up, because I think one thing that is a thread through what all three of you had to share is this example that I lean into a lot, where if we can all imagine watching, am wondering if all of us have any experience, whether it was a video or in real person or walking past a park, watching a baby learning to walk. So there's usually an adult that has both their hands outstretched. Come on, you can do it. And all the support. You've got this. Someone believing in them. Come on. And both hands are there if they want to hold on to both hands. You've got it, right? They're recognizing you feel scared. That's okay. I know it's new. Come on, baby. Let's go, baby. And they reach out for both hands and they go to take a step and then they fall on their bottom and everyone goes, yeah, my goodness gracious, you went for it. And you fell flat down on the ground, landed on your bottom. Woohoo! And we're so thrilled. And at no point is anyone saying to their loved baby, could you just get up and run already? What's up with this one step fall down? Why you got to cruise the couch? You're on the couch, you get distracted, you look around, you fall down. Could you just stay focused so you can get running sooner? What's up with the two hands? Can't you just use one pinky? Why do you need both of my hands? That is just not common practice with babies that are learning to walk. At no point do we expect them just to bing, all of a sudden be able to go at a fast clip, not need the support, not need the encouragement, not celebrate this attempt that was made. With full support, we still celebrate the attempt. So two things happening here in terms of self-compassion. How kind can we be to ourselves when we're building skills? But I'm also offering, we're doing an activity right now where I'm challenging your perspective on this. So it's the skill of perspective taking around skill building.
Hmm.
If it's a baby taking a step, what do they need? How do we take the two hands? How do we fall down on our butts and still celebrate? Because we considered setting a boundary. We were honest about what we actually needed in our mind. We just didn't say it out loud. Woohoo! Yes! Well done. So, with a baby learning to walk, in what way can we apply that perspective to whatever skill we're in the midst of building, even in the midst of really, really tough times? So I'm going to have us do another quick practice together. And this comes from a long time colleague and mentor to me, around a decade of working together. Maurice Harper and I worked in a context and environment where folks were escalating very quickly. There was an ongoing threat for folks because they were living with symptoms of trauma, living in trauma, and experiencing trauma regularly. And sometimes that trauma would be activated in the space in which we were working. And Maurice taught and guided and led us all in considering 90 seconds. You ask someone to do something, you suggest that they redirect, you request that they take some space and take a deep breath. Always, always give them 90 seconds. 90 seconds may feel like nothing to some folks and may feel like an incredibly long time for other people. The thing that with 90 seconds, my running theory is that something will change in 90 seconds. I don't know what it is. We don't know what it is, but something will shift. So if you're all ready for taking a healthy risk, we actually are going to sit here for 90 seconds so that we can sense how long this feels like and what the possibilities are. So starting now. Okay, that was 90 seconds.
Felt decadent.
Did it?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm wondering how it felt for other folks, and you can put it in the chat because I'm curious. I would love to hear. And take a moment to notice what has changed.
Mm.
For me, what changed is my shoulders went from being up here to actually moving down my back.
Mm.
I went from thinking, this is wild that I'm doing this for 90 seconds. People are going to think this is a waste of time. Or why would we waste 90 seconds of our lives doing this? And my mind went from busy to quieter. And then my breathing slowed down as well.
Mm.
And in doing that, sitting for 90 seconds, we're building the skill for some of us of sitting in discomfort, building the skill of slowing down, building the skill of sustaining our attention for a period of time. And there's other skills. So an activity, Sonia and I just did the same activity. The skills that I built and the skills that she built may be different. And that's fine. That's okay. And then we have the part of asking for 90 seconds or giving 90 seconds. So anyone that is caretaking for anyone of any age and any stage of health, giving them 90 seconds to respond to you, giving yourself 90 seconds when something has been asked of you. If you're parenting, please go put on your shoes. Can I extend 90 seconds to you for you to put on your shoes? When I ask someone to bring me Advil and water, before they respond, say, yeah, I'm going to get it. Can I just wait 90 seconds? Do we have 90 seconds? Do we? What if I just granted us all 90 seconds? What would happen?
I'm really resonating with that one because I know that I have a need for an immediate response. And if that doesn't happen, I'm like, did you not hear me? Do you not understand what I just said to you? And really, there's no need for that. Like, they heard. It just, I have an expectation of what the response should be. Oh, this is gonna be a skill I'm gonna practice. Giving people 90 seconds. I'm into it.
And I mean, urgency is my favorite cultural norm to uphold. Ooh, I like to go fast. Want it now. Yeah, did you hear me? Did you not? Are we rocking and rolling? Are we moving? Right? And I honked at someone because they're driving 10 miles an hour down the street. I want to get going faster. Could I give this person 90 seconds to make the decision if they're going to take that spot or not? Can I? So, and while doing that, thinking about, Sonia, will you go to our last slide?
Yeah.
I'm left wondering, go to the next one, around being kind to ourselves. So, yeah, I honked at the person, and then, ooh, I am working on building the skill of slowing down. Wow. I just noticed that is not supporting my development of building that skill. Not achieving it. I'm not working to be at the place where I'm the master of slowing down. I'm working on building my skill around slowing down. It's not a destination. It's not all or nothing. It's not urgent. So what I put out to all of us here together is the question of, is the way you're building your skill or skills working for you? If not, go ahead. I give you permission, change course. And can you be kind to yourself while building the skill? Then when I was thinking about this, I thought about the idea of can. I know that you can. I know you can be kind to yourself. So I don't imagine this is grammatically correct, but may you be kind to yourself? How? In what way? And this, even considering any of this, is building the skill of self-compassion, which can sometimes feel inaccessible to people, like it's so out there, it's far off. But really, how, after honking at someone because they're going too slow and I want to go faster, can I then recognize I'm working on building the skill of slowing down and be kind to myself with the fact that I just honked at that person? So let's practice one more time before we say goodbye, or no, before we have questions and time for questions. We're going to do this activity again with our senses, okay? So here we go. So look around your space and notice 5 things with your eyes. If you don't have access for looking using eyes, then I want you to think about 5 things in your space that you've touched, that you know are there, like the table or the pillow that you like or the blanket. Think about 5 things that you know are in the space with you, if you know your animal's in the space with you. So I'm sorry, I forgot to say this earlier. If you don't have access to looking, then use your mind's eye to recall what is in the space with you and pick out 5 of those things. Four things that you feel. 3 things that you hear. gets trickier, more nuanced. 3 things you can hear, and 1 can be the sound of my voice. Two things you can smell. If you don't have access to smell, then remember 2 things that you have enjoyed smelling at some point in your life or that you've heard about smelling. And 1 thing you can taste. Now notice anything different. Notice anything that's different from the last time we did this exercise, or anything that is different from when we first got together at the top of the hour to build your skill for noticing. Thank you for doing that. What do folks need or want? Has anyone voiced their need in the chat, or anyone have their hand up?
See here, I'm gonna close this out so my face isn't covered in an orange glow anymore. Hold on. There we go. Okay.
Oh, you.
Yes, me. Let's see. Nothing so far. Maybe people are just feeling it.
Oh, I'm loving this. I'm reading everyone's comments. Felt long but luxurious. Breath deepened. Thank you, Monica. I'm seeing everyone's.
Mhm.
Oh, it felt like an eternity to Joe. Thank you for sharing that. Very enriching. Steve and I do a 42-minute sit each morning, and any moment or many moments is just such a gift and redirects my heart. Breathing uninterrupted. Thank you, Fatima. Create so much space beyond the 90 seconds, and it continues after the time has passed.
Karen, I like your note about the 5 new things, like a little, now there's a narrative around the 5 things and the feeling. Yeah. It's a bit of a haiku, a bit of a poem, a bit of a, yeah, moment, the things that you pick. Hopefully.
So what do folks need now? It's
Mhm.
offering what I was speaking about. If you are able to identify what it is that you need, and if that need might be met by typing something in or raising your hand for Sonia and I to provide some support or feedback, we're here for it. The need could be, I'll offer options: validation, connection, to be seen, to be heard, to express yourself, to be witnessed, to be believed, to be honored, to receive love and care, to take a healthy risk. If anyone has any of those needs.
Yeah, and Joe, you raised your hand again, and Fatima, I saw your hand up. If you want to come back, we can totally do that. Joe, go ahead.
I'm like, what's next? What are we doing next? Huh?
What is your need, Joe?
Well, I think my need is to plug in more to this group and find out how I can be better at this and how can I plug into this to mental health. I mean, because there's so many offerings that I don't all understand and that I'd like to know more about. And I really enjoyed this exercise a lot. So
Thanks for being here.
I'm a believer.
Thank you, Joe.
Thanks,
Well,
Joe.
and Jennifer, I see your comment as well. Both Joe, Jennifer, and everyone. This is how I work with people. So I'm here. I'm here at Mettle. I serve people. I'm not going anywhere. So be in touch. I'm here doing this with folks every day.
Cool.
Thank you, Joe.
Yeah, thanks, Joe.
Fatima, I will unmute you. You may have to do it on your end.
Oh, hi. Can you hear me?
Hi.
Yes.
Hi. So, thank you very much. This has been really, really good. I guess for me, at the stage of where I'm at, I have NMOSD, and the pathway for the disease is completely uncertain. So I guess I'm navigating through that.
You are building the skill for sitting with uncertainty, Fatima.
Yeah.
Mhm. And it's a skill. And my guess is you, along with me and so many other people, were never supported to build the skill to sit with uncertainty.
No, in my entire life, I've been, the certain one, the one who knows where to go, how to set the direction, how to spec the strategy, or those great things.
Mhm.
So yeah, this is completely new.
It's completely new.
Mm.
And how kind can you be to yourself and with other people?
Uh,
Surely have an urgency around building the skill very quickly to be able to sit with the uncertainty of your health and well-being in life. I feel like you're.
I'm not sure. I'm
Mhm,
not sure.
mhm,
Yeah, I'm not sure. Everyone wants to fix me
mhm,
like I'm a broken toy.
mhm.
And I'm just not sure how or where to go next. And I guess I'm pondering how to build this uncertainty skill.
Yes, and you will continue to develop it. I'm not sure about mastery of skills as it compares to like being able to pump out the most perfect loaf of sourdough bread.
No, I don't think it's going to be like that at all. I think it's something I'm going to have to continue learning as the disease progresses and as my emotions progress and everything else.
Mm.
Mm,
Mm-hmm.
it's a weird place.
It's a weird place to be in, Fatima. And you might also not feel like you have a whole lot of company in the experience of building the skill of sitting in uncertainty.
Not right now, no.
Mm-hmm. You can feel lonely.
Yeah.
Yeah, as we build these skills, we can be left with wondering, am I the only one having to build this skill? My life is demanding this of me, and am I the only one?
Yeah.
I
Because
believe you.
it's my experience, right? It's not anybody else's. So, and they have their lives and they're busy and everyone wants to support you and they love you. And I'm very grateful for that.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
their lives have to continue as well. And I want them to do that. And at the
Right.
same time, they can't fix me. I've got to process this uncertainty because that's what it's going to be.
Yes, Fatima, I'm also hearing it sounds like you're building your capacity for sitting with both things. You feel very grateful and you need to build the skill and continue to develop the skill of sitting in the uncertainty. That both things are true. Is that true?
Absolutely true. You've nailed it.
Thank you for sharing, Fatima.
Sure. Hopefully it can help others as well.
What'd you say?
Hopefully it can help others as well.
Truly. I imagine so, Fatima. Thank you for speaking up. Thank you for taking the risk.
Sure.
It was really nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Thanks, Fatima. Natalie, do you have one more moment to go over so we can hear a final thought from Karen, who has her
Yes.
hand raised? Okay. Karen, you know how this works. Go ahead.
Thank you. I first want to say, Fatima, I really, what you say resonates so much with me because I think living with the uncertainty of serious illness has become a way of being for me. And it's almost a kind of art to, for me, trying to be a healthy cancer patient. And what I'm realizing is that I did not think I needed skills to achieve a pivot that I'm trying to make, which is a huge leap from being a cancer patient to a cancer survivor. And I'm still very much struggling with the language. The skill set is different, I think, for what I need to do, but it is a massive, massive pivot because it's around identity and all of the skills that we bring to just being who we are. I'm now thinking about those in a very different way. So thank you so much for your remarks, Natalie and Sonia. Thank you.
Thank you, Karen.
It's my pleasure. Thank you for everyone attention and presence. And while I don't see you, I most definitely feel you and am happy to participate in all of this with you. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks everyone for being here. We're happy you joined us. Thank you. Thank you, Natalie. Do you hear my cat voicing his needs right now?
No.
The need to be fed is what he has no problem asking or telling, for that matter. So he was listening this whole time. Thank you so much, Natalie. Thank you everyone for being here. Wishing everyone some type of relaxation this weekend. Thank you again for joining us.
Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye.